What's up? Dean, City Performance at the shop. We got Jonathan's truck up on the lift, so I pushed the Caprice back. I did do a little bit on this. I got the intake on it, got the throttle cable in it, all bolted in, the throttle pedals in, bolted in, thermostat housings on, so I can see how jacked up that lower radiator hose is gonna be. So I did all that, and then while I thought on this one, because there's a list of stuff I need to do. So first, I needed to get the hydraulic lines hooked up for the throw-out bearing, and I did not leave myself a lot of room to do that. But once I thought about it, the lines can come out to here, and it gives me a little bit of room. I can reach from the outside. I can get a little bit of room. So I got them hooked up. I got to get both of them tugged up and clamped up out of the way so they don't fall on the header. So I got both of those hooked up. One of them is a bleeder, so it runs up and it's basically blanked off with like a just like a brake bleeder. So it has the same kind of brake bleeder on it. So what I did was I hooked those up, and before I jumped on to 9 other things, I took a piece of rubber line, filled the clutch slave master, ran the rubber line into it, went in the truck. I loosened the bleeder. I went in the truck and just started pumping the pedal. And it took all of maybe like 10 pumps before I saw constant fluid. I topped off the clutch, pumped it 10, 15 more times, and then came out. I tightened it, got back in, and immediately I could feel there is a complete pedal. There's a minuscule amount of play in it, and then it is a complete pedal. So I'm fingers crossed that it is working correctly with that clutch sleeve. I'm really hoping that that clutch sleeve is enough to push this throw-out bearing. So I got that done, and then I said, okay, what else do I need to do? So little things. They're all little things, but the wideband sensor is now in the exhaust, tightened in. I have to tie up the wiring. I have it zip tied to the transmission housing with the extension, and it's plugged in. So now I know, okay, that's where it's going to go. So now I could deal with this length of wire, whether it be most likely just zip tied over here to these plugs. And this is all like this is a really high quality, like a heat shield that they use on these wires. So that should be good. Then I said, okay, now I need to get the fluid in the transmission, because I'm one of those that will be forgotten if I don't do it, go through systematically and go through. So I went ahead and borrowed like a Milwaukee transfer pump that doesn't like oil, but it worked really well. So I took the plug out, I put the hose in there, turned the pump on, and it sucked almost a full gallon into the transmission. So I basically set the pump up there, I hung the jug, and it's roughly, can't really see it, but it's about 3.5 quarts went in the transmission, and it started bleeding out. So that's all good. Then I looked, and my fuel filter was hanging really low, so I know that my feed was too long. So I went ahead and I shortened the feed to the filter. So now that is tucked up above the frame rail. I just have it zip tied for now. I'm gonna do a P-clamp. I tried to bore out like a dual 6 clip and really botched it up, and it went flinging somewhere behind all that stuff. So I'm gonna have to figure out how to make some kind of clamp. I shortened the return line. The 90s, I believe the 90s were delivered, so I'll be able to get that last 90 on so that I can go ahead and set my pressure. Then of course I noticed that the nut fell off the regulator, so I'm gonna have to snatch a nut off my truck for the regulator, because I don't know where it went. I've looked everywhere, lost it, it's gone. I also, which it's up top, 3D printed, you can't see it. I 3D printed another bracket so it moves the coil farther up and over a little bit toward the mounting position. So that one seems to be pretty good. I'm gonna do the second one. I'm gonna change the dipstick tube. I don't know where it is in this motor. It's gone. It's gone. No, there it is. So I'm gonna change the dipstick tube because it's sitting just over here, and you can't really get to it. You can, but you can't. It's kind of in the way. Once the coil is bolted down and in there, it's just not gonna be right. It's gonna be too difficult. So I'm gonna snatch the one off my motor, which is a brand new, like, factory GM one. I'm gonna stick that in there, and that'll push it way farther forward and out so that it's accessible. It won't look horrible, it won't look terrible. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that tomorrow. I'll pull this one out and unbolt it from the head, bolt it in somewhere in there area. I can't remember where. It looks like it's bolted in over there. So I'll get that done. Once the coils are mounted, and the fuel pressure is set, honestly, aside from, radiator hoses and stuff, which I will do, maybe not tomorrow, but probably not tomorrow. I'll try and change the dipstick tomorrow so I don't forget. But the other piece that I'm working on is this fuel tank. This is for a 69 Camaro, and it's getting a pretty big motor, and it's getting a big setup. So it needs a lot of fuel. So I got this. I think I put it in the other video. It's Alloy Works, like a top hat. And I mean, I have these 525s crushed about as far up as you can go. So it's gonna hit the floor. So I cut this section out right here. I cut this section out, and what I'm gonna do is put this on the bottom of the tank as a sump. So it kind of keeps sort of the factory groove. I don't think the bottom has those grooves. It does over there. So I'll try to line this groove up with that groove there, and then it'll look somewhat factory. It'll be a sump, but I'll only have to build the sides of it to drop it down in the bottom. So that should work. Oh, look at that. There's the sock. See it? Yeah. That is the factory sock that fell off this sending unit. Sending unit, whatever you want to call it. So this is the other piece I'm working on. This one is got to get done tomorrow. He wants to try and pick it up tomorrow, so I'm going to try and get this done for him tomorrow. There's a lot of fabrication because I got to drop this whole thing down, make a flat, cut it out, do 8 million other different tricks and stuff to it. And then I got to fully weld it in, make sure it's sealed. We don't want no gas spillage. So that's kind of where we're at. Just got back from Chipley Seacrest Wolf Preserve. Dude, that is insane. I'll put a couple pictures in. I only have pictures. I don't do videos. But I'll put a couple pictures in, and that's it. That's where we're at. The blue truck is done. He's coming tomorrow to pick that up. The Monte Carlo, he got the injector that fixed most of the issue. It's just got a little bit of low temp, which I believe is either a bad plug or maybe a little bit of valve lash adjustment. But he's actually working on his car and getting it done and getting it sorted out. So I'm really, really happy about that he's able to cruise his car now. That torque head kit worked out really, really good. It's a really nice kit, and we didn't have to tune it. I mean, literally bolted it in, fired it up. Their base tune is very, very good for that. So later on he may tune the car, he said. So we're up for that. But that's it for now. I appreciate you watching. Like, subscribe, hit the bell to be notified of new videos. Leave me a comment. Have a good day.